Check out my Patreon for many mods collection and load order services. Learn more in description or in the pinned comment. Welcome back inside the Hidden Hotbox Gamer. I'm Chris, and this is Fallout 4 Ultra gameplay based load order for Xbox Series X, S and Xbox One. This mods collection for Fallout 4 on Xbox is exclusively focused on improving gameplay, quality of life, introduce new gameplay mechanics, better crafting, and other various minor improvements for an all-around more compelling experience when playing Fallout 4. This Xbox load order features almost 80 mods, which are all linked in description or in the pinned comment in the correct load order. Stay until the end of the video for some technical details. Let's begin! Before we start, just be aware that I was aided by some cheats to film most of the clips for this video. Okay, since there are already many more details that need to be mentioned for this video, I kept it simple with the frame rate. This time we're simply making use of the Xbox FPS Boost. That being said, the master files for this video are the Unofficial Fallout 4 patch UFO4P XB1, XB1 Budget Limit Remover V3.0, and Settlement Guards Sleep. Thanks to these mods, many Fallout 4's bugs will be fixed. Settlements will allow you to create and build as much as you want, and their guards will only be guarding during work hours, leaving the rest of the day for sleeping and playing at slot machines. Next, let's talk about the foundations. A Touch of Life complete, unique Wasteland Experience stable, and XP1 Eli's tweaks and fixes all in one, retouch Fallout 4 and fix many bugs of the game. And thanks to unique Wasteland Experience in particular, you will have control over many settings of the game to get the most tailored experience possible for you. On top of these, I also found a very small mod that fixes a specific bug. Combat Front Ring Standalone Patch XB1 allows you to craft that component for the combat rifle with always the same materials. Important note, one of these mods makes so that the first time that you hold the button to lower your weapon, you will keep it in your hands but simply not pointed at who is in front of you. If you want to put your weapon away, hold that button a second time. For the menus and UI there are quite a few mods, so let's get into it. Main menu theme song replacer, It's All Over But the Crying, does exactly what it says on the title. I personally was way more fond of the Fallout 3's main theme than 4's, so replacing it with the song used for its first trailer is a great solution for me.
Friends all over.
And now, to get the preview for all in-game dialogues displayed on screen, you need to install one version of the full dialogue interface mods. There are 10 different languages for it, and they are all linked with the other mods down below. Pick your language and you're good to go. Moving on, there is Xbox first-person messages to transform most of the game's pop-ups into thoughts of your character. After these small improvements we're installing is no more cash register sound when XP gained by Liquid Bronze, which is then followed by adjustable UI volume sliders XB1 that will give you full control over the many sounds of Fallout 4's interface on Xbox. The last two edits to this area of the game are Show PA Compass Marker, which shows you in which direction your power armor is regardless of the distance, and Faster Terminal displays XB1 to allow terminals to open up super fast when you use them. It's time to expand and improve crafting. Blacksmith's Crafting Expansion version 27 XB1 makes so that you can create an item creation workbench that allows you to create armors, weapons, clothes and ammo from scratch with the appropriate materials. Since I wasn't sure if the previous mod allowed you to craft fusion cores, I also installed a very small mod to do it called the Craft Fusion Core for Xbox One. At the game station, you can craft the Cross Jetpack XB1, which comes in 3 variants. The Jet Sprinter is a booster for sprinting and jumping. The Jetpack Standard functions like the usual power armor jetpacks of vanilla Fallout 4, and the Jetpack Advanced is a combination of both. To get the 2 better versions, you need to modify the Jet Sprinter at an armor modification workbench. Speaking of which, with Backpack as Armor add-on 1.02, there will be an additional option for some armors to feature a backpack and increase the carry weight limit. If you want, you can wear both a backpack and the jetpacks, but they will of course clip through each other. Craftable Dog Armor makes so that you can craft dog armors by yourself. And finally, Cyborg Cybernetic Enhancements adds craftable cybernetic power-ups for your character that you can craft at camp stations. Before we move to the gameplay mods, for the settlement building section we need Crimson Rider's Convenient Power and Electricity, to make your life easier when managing the settlement's electricity. For more details about these mods or any other ones of the video, remember to read the full description for each one in their page linked below. We are now looking at the gameplay mods, but before we start, for the first time on the channel, there is a mod that I couldn't find a way to make it function, so maybe if you know it, you can give me some tips about it. I'm talking about Infiltrator True Disguises, which supposedly should allow you to blend into any faction by wearing some new disguise clothes that can be crafted at a workbench that's a part of the mod. I tried to manage the mod settings through its holotapes, but nothing worked for me, so if you have any tips, let me know. It's now time for See-Through Scopes GOTY XB1, or if you don't have the DLCs, for See-Through Scopes XB1. Thanks to one of these mods, you can manage the settings relative to the state of aiming down sights in first person. Everyone's best friend, dogmeat plus companion at same time, Xbox, does exactly what its name says. Destructible Ammo Xbox has a little more flavor and interactivity to Fallout 4's gameplay by allowing you to destroy ammo by shooting at it. This is something that could prove to be more interesting when it happens in random situations, and I encourage you to try it out. Thanks to the Xbox mod, Ball, a fetching mod, you can give a baseball to Dogmeat through his inventory and retrieve it as a throwable. Take it back and equip it from the weapons menu. Now you can play ball with Dogmeat. Throw it and try. With Take Cover for Xbox One, you can take cover like NPCs and fight in a new way. By default, sprinting towards covers puts you into cover state, which as far as I've seen it's better to be used in third person. To then disengage should be enough to exit cover, though it isn't quite perfected yet. I have also tried to change the settings to enter and exit cover by double tapping sprint. It still isn't ideal, but I have found it to be a little better than the default settings. There is also a bug with this mod that sometimes puts you into cover state in places where there isn't any cover. This happens if you're sprinting towards something that the mod might interpret as a cover. To exit from that state, enter in first person and lower your weapon. From this point going forward, in the video I will skip the most minor mods, but you can still find them linked below. All of the skipped mods will be about some minor quality of life improvements or something similar. Lockpicking and hacking are restricted, makes so that you can attempt to force any door or terminal regardless of your skill level. But if you're not lucky with a door in particular, you also have another solution. Explosive Entry XB1 gives you the possibility to blow up locks and make your way through without being a master thief. Thanks to Persuasion New Vegas style Xbox One, it will be enough to have enough skill to win persuasion checks. As it should be, no more random persuasion wins or losses. And as a final gameplay mod for Fallout 4 on Xbox, I picked Get Unstuck for Xbox One, which adds an item in the aid section to simply get unstuck. For leveling, I only picked one mod to make the game a bit more chill, which is bonus perk points on Level Up XB1. Then moving on the perks, I want to mention Special, which reverts the special functionality to how it was in previous games, meaning you have more points to spend on your special at the start of the game, but you will not be able to improve them later. And after another minor improvement mod, I also chose Mutations for Fallout 4 XB1 to bring the mutations for Fallout 76 inside Fallout 4. Let's now talk about the leveled lists and the loot. With Cars Trucks Lootable, you will find all sorts of items inside intact automobiles and trucks. And moving a bit forward in the mods that alter the enemy leveled lists, we also need the DLC ammo leveled lists XB1 to make so that all DLC ammo can spawn in the Commonwealth. In the music and audio department, I picked the Fallout Music Integrated Redux. This is very helpful to break the music that you hear all the time playing Fallout 4, especially if you played it many times, because it adds upon the vanilla music many themes from previous Fallout titles. The next Xbox mod was picked just to improve performance. Its name is Less Grass 120 version. For the animations instead, we have Power Armor Quick Enter and Exit Xbox One to always play the combat animation to enter or exit from Power Armors, XB1 Reanimated Steam Pack, and also Realistic Death Physics No Animation XB1 to make sure that NPCs that die behave accordingly to physics. After more optimization and few immersion improvements thanks to some selected picks for the meshes and textures section, we can improve the non-combat NPC AI with Fallout 4 AI Overhaul and Superb Settlers XB1. This last one in particular allows settlers to do more actions like crafting. The mod's description even says that if you're lucky, a settler could craft a power armor. To increase the population of the Commonwealth and spawn more NPCs, both enemies and not, I chose the Xbox mods, Repopulated Commonwealth Volume 1, XB1 Settlement Population Increase, and the new exotic enemies Xbox. With the latest, the game even spawned a survivor from Washington's Vault 101. Thanks to Plan to Exploration Xbox One, New Interiors and Exteriors to Explore, Stumble Upon Interiors XB1, and Crowded Commonwealth New Location and Work Expansion XB1, many locations of Fallout 4 will feature more environmental storytelling, and you will also find many new interior locations to explore. For the balance and combat section, there isn't much to say aside from a few mods, but here I will mention all of the mods included for this section. Immersive Fallout DLC, or alternatively Immersive Fallout non-DLC if you don't have them, rebalances every aspect of the combat in Fallout 4 for Xbox, even movement speed. Then we have Balanced Weapons, Enemy Scaling Revamped, Vaultman Enemies and Bosses XB1 which rebalances some specific NPCs and bosses, Immortal Cats because yes, Dogmeat Buff, and Stronger Vertebrates. As Pip-Boy or map alterations, there are two mods. Vanilla Pip Flashlight XB1 gives you access to a much better Pip-Boy light to explore during the night, and More Map Markers XB1 adds several map markers that were absent in Vanilla Fallout 4. Finally, for the bottom load order install, there was Firefight XB1 to keep as many of these guys on the ground after you shoot, longer headlamp light distance 2x as in Multiply, which is an improvement of the power armored headlamp light, and Death Effects Removed XB1 to remove the screen coloration effects that the game activates when you die. And now some technical details that you should really know. First of all, if you're an Xbox Series X or Series S, be sure to have Fallout 4 on an SSD, because on startup the loading makes you think it's stuck, but it's not. And with the game on the SSD the problem is mitigated. A few very rare times the game was actually stuck, but it happened before I moved the game on the SSD in my case. Also, if some weird bug changes the color of your character's face, it will be enough to go take a surgery in Diamond City. As soon as you sit in the chair, you can get up, and the bug will be fixed without requiring any actual modification of your character. And finally, in this clip you can see that there are many craftable holotips at camp stations to manage the settings for many mods. Did you enjoy your time with the video? Leave a like if so, and subscribe for more. Thank you for watching, have a nice day, and game on!